on the south side, we got the man that managed to take game number 2 in this best of 3 series, Anotand.
And in the north, it is SortOf. And I know the Abbasid is one of his comfortable civilizations. So let's see how he can play it against Mali, if he changes up anything, or if we see the typical builds, 704 wheelbarrow to 2TC kind of build with fresh foodstuffs. This is not the pup going in on the normal old server, live server. And Anotand, how greedy will he be with the houses? How many straggler trees will he drop? Is it going to be 2? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 6? Or, something crazy? Right now, we obviously see the 4. He's still on the straggler, so that makes me think it is at least going to be 6. And you're able to be a little greedier, I guess I would say, against Abbasid. Not a civ that's going to be one of the heavy, earlier pressing civs, and that's why we see the 6 houses come on down.
Yeah. We were discussing this earlier when we saw Malians. You generally want to be very aggressive against Malian in Dark Age, but Abbasid is not really a civilization known for their alien aggression. So Anatan is just able to comfortably go with the 6 houses around his pit mine, and because he's most likely not going to get punished for it.
Nope, not at all. He's even grabbing 10 gold extra to make to where this villager's trip wasn't just out there to just do some building. He said, grab some resources on the way back, drop off that gold, and then jump on in, and everyone is onto food as he already has enough gold for age up timing.
Yep, and he's just missing the food that, thanks to Malians being able to have all their villages on food, that's going to build up really quickly.
And SortOf is not going for the typical 804 type of build. He is a little bit lighter onto the gold. About to click age up here now. Going with the eco wing, and with 2 villagers, you can end up getting enough for your fresh food stuffs, just not opting for the wheelbarrow, which also means saving wood, not having to build a mill.
Yep, interesting build by SortOf. I'm guessing he's going for a fast golden age, which is a build that's risen in popularity recently with Abbasid. It's pretty good in order to be able to get your first units out on the map, which is something you absolutely need versus Malian. And he's going with the Mansa Quarry, so that means that those first few units are going to be highly effective in harassing that gold.
Yeah, exactly. But the question is, when are those first few units going to come out? And I mentioned it earlier, Anotand. He doesn't sometimes always opt for that fast Farimba build. Sometimes he is the one to go more for the Sofa, or even Warrior Scout into Sofa has been a option for him before. So will that be one of the choices here, or will it just kind of be, hey, I'm gonna use this Mansa Quarry to help me age up even faster?
Yep, and that's a big question mark that will get answered shortly, and we will see, because as Abbasid, if he gets the stable and an archer range, a camel archer and a horseman, they beat Sofa really badly.
Yep, first barracks already being dropped on down. Mill being dropped next to Anotand's home TC. It's got a ton of villagers onto that wood line, or I guess not even wood line, onto the stragglers still around the TC that are still nice and close, so not super inefficient, and then going on over to the wood line right after that.
He's just missing one building. That's the last building he will need for Golden Age. As soon as that house goes up, Golden Age is coming up too. So yeah, that's the fast Golden Age build I was talking about. I'm surprised he dropped the barracks, because it doesn't do much against Malians, because your spearmen are just worse than Donsos until you get the Phalanx upgrade, and even then you need a big mass of spearmen in order to be worth it.
Mining camp canceled on the initial pit mine. Anotand just pulls back. Archery range being dropped. He's circling around, spotting out the eco and the base of SortOf, so he knows how to react and what to expect. He sees the barrack, so he drops the range. He sees the stone, knows that SortOf just now is onto the stone. As you can click it, go, all right, he's only grabbed 80 stone. He's going to need another essentially 300 before he can drop a second TC, and he already has a full set of pit mine houses, and with that extra wood, he can either drop another production building, drop more pit mine houses, or a combination.
Yep, absolutely. I am quite curious what SortOf is doing. He's dropping the stables now, so and we haven't seen a spearman out, so I'm assuming we'll see horsemen to go to the other side of the map and start harassing.
Yeah, also Stables is immediately spotted by Anotand as well, just continuing to circle with this scout, and I think he also wants to see where the second TC is going to go, or maybe even try to, delay it just a bit, be annoying.
I'm assuming it's going to go into that back tier. It's just a very nice spot. Safe food, you got a wood line after, you sort of protect your gold too.
Archer's starting to be messed up. A few Donzo as well, as he saw that Stables on the other side. So again, just kind of reacting accordingly. At the same time, SortOf doing the exact same thing. Constantly circling, scouting Anotand's base. Made sure he didn't already drop another pit mine and houses all around the second gold vein. He's about to make sure the same thing on the other. Wants to see how many villagers are on gold, how many villagers are on the wood line. All these things are information because they need to react accordingly. Archery range being dropped by SortOf as well, as he saw the barracks. And then once Anotand spots this, I think we're gonna see 1-1-1 from either of these players.
Yep, 1-1-1. One of every production building, and
instead, Anotand initially drops the pit mine. He gets another cow on out for that faster food, and this pit mine's going to start getting houses all around it. Second TC, not where we expected. A little bit more conservative on the stone and berries, which makes me think it might be a third TC idea.
Yeah, this looks like a 30C, very, very greedy, but it's fine because he's been scouting Anotand, and sort of know that Anotand is not going for fast castle, so that means he can get a little bit greedier. He can go for maybe a 30C, and he should be fine as long as there's no Farimba. He's not in any huge threat of dying in the short term.
You are correct. Only a few villagers building that TC. 5. Usually you'll see about 8, but I guess SortOf is in no rush. Wants to have a nice, balanced eco. Wants to continue to be able to produce behind this, and he is mainly focusing on horsemen archers as his composition.
Very, very conservative game by both players. I guess they're both scared about losing the game by doing something completely risky and just getting their tournament life over, but someone has to lose this series. Someone has to lose this game, and in order for us to look forward.
And there's the stables. There is the blacksmith. Anotand playing this more feudal age than typically, which is not the typical Mali play style. But one thing I do know about Anotand, the second TC for SortOf takes a little bit to pay off. It was some extra resources, and Mali's known for massing up unit after unit after unit after unit. So what he loves to do is just all in once he gets, 50, 60, 70 units and, wins a big fight and takes that on in. You can already see he's massing up. He might have a nice castle age timing, get some upgrades and go on in.
Absolutely. Now we're starting to see the first harassment coming from SortOf going directly to that pit mine, but there are already units in place and they are more than enough to deal with this force horsemen.
Villagers move back from the horseman raid on the main gold/pit mine. Warrior Scout has been upgraded, as I mentioned, so that did come through at some point in time for Anotand. He only has a single scout. You might not think it's worth it, but Warrior Scout's very, very cheap and, makes your scout just a little bit better. You might be able to deny vision and have that added benefit. We noticed Farimba Garrison is on its way, 16 villagers. Scout about to actually burn down this initial house, so one house will go down for Anotand.
That scout got way too much value, but that's okay. First couple of archers and a spearman coming for SortOf. He's looking to fight, but the Malian is on Castle Age, and once he's on Castle Age, he's gonna start producing a bunch of units, and this is going to get really scary for SortOf really, really quickly. He needs to start dropping a bunch of production and outmass the Mali.
I always laugh after Farimba gets built, and it's like, everyone to gold! Mass gold! We need gold! Like, that's just like all I imagine, like the villagers just yelling at each other, because it's just like a mad dash over for the gold, and then it's just all of Farimba just pump unit after unit after unit, as you said. Just take this map control, but we see how effective SortOf has been with the Horseman raid. Not only this game, but in previous games as well. So if he can continue that up against Anotand, that could really be the difference as it was in the game prior with the China versus HRE.
Absolutely. Right now, what is Anotand doing? He's producing javelin throwers. He has a good amount of dances already out in order to deal with the horsemen, but they are completely out of position. And this raid might get like one or two more houses, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a lot when we're talking about Malians.
Yeah, luckily enough, he will be able to mass up units quick to go deal with those, 5 horsemen or so, as he has a good amount of production. Already has a barrack spotted out. It looks like queued up over to that location to start protecting. And no, he's pulling back his whole entire military, which this is another thing about, immobile military. If you can continue to stall up, if you can continue to delay, it will win you the game, and this is exactly what this warrior scout is doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That warrior scout is about to prevent that wall, but there's enough military there to deter that. Javelin throwers and a couple of dances managed to pick one of the horsemen, maybe two, no, just one of the horsemen that were raiding. But if he's not careful, oh, nice wall attempt just to make him get out of this side of the map. Maybe it's a bit of a bait in order to get the horsemen back, and it works. He's going to lose all of those horsemen if he's not careful. Manages to only escape with two of them, one of them very, very low health, but they're going to get caught by the main military force of Anotand if he so chooses.
Yeah, it's two horses. I guess he's just saying, I don't care. Being a little greedy, going ahead, building houses around the big gold mine. This is the one he wants to secure up next. This is the one that he wants to just be on for the long haul, because 8k gold and extra houses for extra passive gold bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. He really wants to secure this centerpiece, because with a keep, if he drops a keep on that stealth forest on the left, not only he secures that gold, he also secures like all his wood, and he's just a strong throw away from the other big gold. So it's a very, very solid defensive position if he manages to secure it.
SortOf hits up Castle Age, immediately starts building a mangonel, and it feels like Anotand just barely missed his timing. And not by barely, I mean, I felt like this when he was pushing through earlier, that was the timing to move through, and he pulled back instead, got distracted, and it feels like Abbasid has Mali where they want to be.
Yeah, at this point is when Abbasid is in full control of this game. They can build siege on the field, and one of the biggest downfall of this style of Mali, of just mass Fariba, is siege, because the Donsos are very mobile, the Javelin throwers are very mobile, and Mangonels just wreck both of them if you manage to protect them correctly, which is not difficult to do as Abbasid, because you have so many units just sitting on top of your siege. It's very, very easy to defend. So at this point, it's up to Anotand to be able to secure map control and go and mass up enough units to be able to go head to head against SortOf. But he's already behind in the siege game, and you're always going to be behind against an Abbasid because they are being able to construct a siege on the field.
Yep. Only thing worried about for SortOf just a bit is his wood line starting to thin out. His other two wood lines quite far and forward, where he built those kind of other walls to protect his eastern side. And if Anotand might realize this, it was how he won the previous game. Denying wood can just be detrimental, and it could just be another ability to end up, getting him a leg up on his opponent, sort of dropping a third TC as well.
Yeah, I like this move by SortOf. He absolutely needs the 30C because at this point Mali has way too much gold passive income. He knows he's late with the relics. He's at least 3 relics. Yeah, he's losing 3 relics and he's gonna lose all 5 of them most likely. No, 4 because one of them is inside his base. But he's going to lose all 4 relics. So he really needs to catch up in economy in other ways, and the best way you can do that as Sabasid is just spamming villagers.
Yep, another Imam gets taken down. It's not just horsemen, it's lancers now, as well as a horseman there with them. So will be a little more to deal with, but also a little less if you think about Musafati's doing some extra damage to heavy.
Yeah, no, the problem is Havasid absolutely loves spamming trash unit. Their spearmen are the strongest spearmen in the game because of that phalanx upgrade, which he absolutely needs to get. It doubles their range, so that means that whenever you have like spear on spear action, you have a full line of spear hitting the front line, which that happens from both sides. But then you have a second line of spear that are hitting their front spears because of that extra range. It's really, really powerful. So Avasid love trash unit fights, and they don't mind not building any armored units except a couple of lancers to raid and so on. And Mali actually has quite a difficult time against trash units.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like playing against Mali is so different than playing against every other civilization. But Musafatis are starting to be pumped out now. Can utilize that invisibility and kind of sneak up on some units, such as these horsemen that are trying to deny this relic. Get a nice old couple swings on him. Might not be, you know, the best unit to dive in against, but has the numbers, has that ability, and picks off a couple of these lancers that were diving through the back line and trying to find some raids as they kept circling, and Anotand finally cut him off.
Yep, this Anotand still has the map control. He needs to capitalize on that very, very fast because as soon as Avasid gets fully online, it's gonna be rough. Because
Scouts deny the wood line that he is starting to move out to in front of the House of Wisdom and kill a villager, and that's the power of warrior scouts. Initial wood line, last couple trees, and I think Anotand might have spotted that out, might have an idea about it. He's up 20 military units, doesn't have the siege mass, but just took out, I don't know what siege unit that was, with a Springled, starting to snipe down the Mangonel. One Mangonel at half health, immediately getting healed up as villagers being pulled into huge shots by the first 2 Mangonels. Villagers being pulled during this fight is absolutely a necessity, as one Springled is not going to be enough ever to kill a Mangonel, and this will allow SortOf to transition the fight in his favor. Anotand has to pull back.
Anotand absolutely needs to pull back, and this is the power hours we were talking about. And he has the siege advantage, and once you have the siege advantage as Savasid, you're never losing that. So Anotand needs to really start securing this midfield. He needed a keep yesterday in order to have a fallback point that he can just sit under and prevent SortOf from moving forward. SortOf is getting balls, even grabbing a forward relic. He's gonna fail on that, but that's how confident he's feeling. He's like, okay, I have the military advantage now. I need to just slowly regain map control against you.
Yeah, Musafati trying to burn through some walls, but those walls just so efficient. And not only that, there's an outpost there, so gonna give SortOf vision on those Musafatis.
Absolutely, and he's just SortOf is slowly moving ahead again, just gaining ground inch by inch. Just you dropping walls, moving his military. Oh no, the Mangonels are exposed.
They're exposed, but get a huge 2 shots, and another shot goes down. That one a little bit better dodged by Anotand. So many ranged units by either side, and those Mangonels. Oh, next shot, perfect dodge by Anotand, but has to fall back. His whole entire frontline mass looks to be gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if SortOf manages to get to Imperial again, he's gonna get the composite bows for his archers, and that's when it really turns heavily favored for Avasid, because once you get the composite, you don't really have any good counter against those. Yeah, you have your javelin throwers and your sofas, but it's not really. Sorry, apparently my mic is not working. But yeah, I once you have the composite, it's not. You don't really have a way of dealing with them, because once you have enough archers, you can just take down everything.
Yep. And more upgrades coming in for SortOf. He's at the point where he's just starting to roll in the dough with a 43 bill count lead, and he's able to just remass back up so quick. And now the power of Farimba way less effective, as SortOf basically has, you know, Farimba himself with 5 different of each production building.
Exactly, and he's starting to run in low on gold. His middle goal is only 500 left, and he had to move all the way to the side goal. And as soon as the gold runs out, that Farimba value drastically drops, because then you need to start adding your actual production buildings and transition to a balanced economy, because before you can just have everything on gold and be fine, but after you lose all your gold income, you need to reshift your entire eco, which is really difficult to do either by adding trade like he's doing right now, or going into farms and your proper wood and food balance.
Yeah,
So we'll see how the size manages.
Yeah, and another problem here is it feels like Mali, they always have that ability to mass up units, but I feel like they don't always win the fights with the unit mass they have. A keep being dropped by SortOf, reclaiming more map control, at the same time moving out, rebuilding some more walls, and going up to Imperial Age with the military wing. If we thought the infantry were stronger before, imagine Imperial Age upgrades as well as boot camp, giving those infantry extra health.
Yeah, absolutely. Boot camp, the camel support, giving the infantry around camels a couple extra armor points. It's gigantic. That means his spearmen are basically never going to die against anything that Anotand has, because spearmen counters Sofa, which is the only unit that deals a lot of damage, and everything else is just not going to do any damage to those spearmen.
All of a sudden we blink, Anotand has over 100 military units. He has trades starting online, 169 a pop, has 4 markets, but lacking the wood resources to be able to continue to pump trade. Might need to just buy a little wood and just pump out 4 traders at a time. But SortOf, he has an idea, he sniffs it on out, he sees the market on the other side, has 3 lancers, just going ready to raid some trade, ready to try to do some damage, and Anotand needs to be able to defend this on up, because this was his opportunity, this was his idea, and way back in the game.
Anotand going with the extra layers of wall. He needs to fix that wall on the side, or because he has a hole. But yeah, adding walls, adding more territory under his control, slowly but surely. This is exactly how he needs to play this from now on. Just slowly choke the Malian to death.
Yeah, and SortOf is doing exactly that. Imperial Age hits, that's probably one of those like, oh god, reactions from Anotand as well. Knows he needs to do something, knows he is behind, but also isn't too far from Imperial Age himself, as this trade, they're walking by these toll outposts, giving him some nice old extra gold in.
Yeah, a couple of Lancers been annoying with the trade. They're easy to deal with a couple of Sofas, but it's still annoying. They've gotten like 4 or 5 trader skills at this point, which is really good. And now we see SortOf starting to mass add military production buildings, a lot of barracks, because he knows his win conditions are going to be spearmen.
Yep.
Because there's nothing really Anotand can do to deal with mass spearmen and mangonels.
Yeah, not only that, he has the Madrasa down, getting elite army tactics. That combined, boot camp's already on the way, extra 15% health with boot camp, and then he's getting an extra 20% health and damage with elite army tactics. So these infantry units are going to be just absurd for SortOf, and just going to easily be able to win even with numbers that might be lacking as far as military goes.
Absolutely, and I think he already got the archer upgrade, but he's still working on feudal archers. He's on imperial. I think he already got the upgrade though.
Yeah, you can see the gold hats. Anytime there's gold hats, that usually means that is the elite upgrades. So, elite spearmen, elite archers. I'm not sure if that men-at-arms... Yeah, men-at-arms do not have those golden helmets. So they are not elite yet. And sort of starting to push with his military mass. 49 archers, 12 crossbows. Fort of the Huntress has finished, but isn't going to be enough. Is Anotand going to be able to hold? He's onto that back gold mine with 32. Villagers, he has trade starting to slowly become online, slowly trickle on across, but he has someone knocking on his door right now, and that is sort of just burning down production.
Another aggressive keep. This is really on his face. If this keep goes down, it's going to be almost impossible for Anotand to be able to break free because all his production is right here. He doesn't have anything behind this. Farimba, Anotand is also at population cap, so he needs to take a fight right now in order to free up some population to get siege or another unit composition, because this is really bad for him.
Yep. First mangonel shot on the blacksmith. Looks like Anotand's moving forward. Looks like he is about to push in. Sofa took a spear brace. Mangonel, huge. Oh my god! Into a massive choke point, did damage to like 50 units there, and just archers firing down. Villagers working as hard as they can in the back line. Anotand has the numbers. He's taken down a ton of units. He's taken a decent fight, but just doesn't seem to be good enough. Mangonel doesn't have any units to fire down upon. Anotand, good job by closing the gap, sort of trying to kite back. Villagers getting focused down by some of the archers in the back line. Only 2 vills left, only 1 vill left. This keep might have been denied. This keep might have been a little bit of an overstep, but sort of still has the military numbers. Units are continuing to mass on in.
Yeah, at this point, if you're SortOf, you just grab another 10 villagers and right-click that keep. You just have to finish it. It's just like, you feel so bad canceling a keep at like 90%.
The problem for him, though, he's so worried about the trade right now. He's so focused on denying the trade. He's massing up all his units for the trade, and he lost the fight in the middle. Units having to fall back, sort of. Gonna be able to remass back up super quick, getting composite bows for his archers, but that's right after he just lost 40 archers.
Yeah, that was... I thought he had that, but he didn't. If he had composite bows in that fight, it would have been a complete smash for him. It's just like, composite bows is so underrated just because it's an Imperial upgrade, and we're going to see a lot more of it on the next patch when it becomes castle.
Musafati Gunners, this could be Anotand's way back in it. I don't know if you've seen these things, but they're basically how the Streltsy are. They freaking shred everything in their path.
Hold on. Someone needs to get timed out. Thank you.
All right. Pushing on up. The keep is about to be finished up and sort of has 80 military units before Anotand's able to get anywhere close. Sort of back to max population. Anotand nowhere close. Trade line disrupted. Military mass not going to be able to hold that, and losing the front line as well. Anotand seemed like he did such a good job last fight, but the fight isn't always everything. This is a macro game, and sort of had so much more macro behind this, so many more resources behind this. It's just able to do anything that he wants, and Anotand finally calls it, not able to move on. It's gonna be SortOf versus Zerton.
SortOf versus Anotand.